Indonesia, land of over 17,000 islands, rich in resources and culture, yet burdened for centuries by the weight of colonization. The journey to independence was long and arduous, marked by resilience, sacrifice, and unyielding determination. As the 20th century dawned, colonial modernization began transforming Indonesian society. Railways, schools, and cities grew, but these developments came at a cost. Traditional aristocracies lost power, and local communities were pushed to the margins. Figures like Raden Ajeng Kartini, Sukarno, and Muhammad Atta emerged, advocating for independence and equality. They are inspired by global movements for democracy and liberation. Organizations like Sarakat Islam and Budi Utomo began uniting Indonesians under a shared vision of independence, but the Dutch colonial government resisted these movements, suppressing protests and imprisoning national leaders. World War II marked a turning point. In 1942, Japanese forces invaded and swiftly defeated the Dutch. For the first time in centuries, Indonesia was free from European colonial rule, only to fall under Japanese occupation. The Japanese claimed to be liberators, but their rule was harsh. Millions of Indonesians were forced into labor, and food shortages led to widespread suffering. Yet, amidst the hardship, Japan encouraged national movements, hoping to gain local support. Key nationalist leaders like Sukarno and Hatta used this opportunity to organize and prepare for independence. They knew that the end of the war would bring a unique chance to realize their dream. August 15, 1945, Japan surrendered to the Allied forces, marking the end of World War II. Sensing the moment, Sukarno and Hatta moved quickly to declare Indonesia's independence. On the morning of August 17, 1945, Sukarno proclaimed Indonesia's independence.
Hal-hal yang mengenai pemindahan kekuasaan dan lain-lain diselenggarakan dengan cara saksama dan dalam tempo yang sesingkat-singkatnya. Jakarta, 17 Agustus 1945, atas nama bangsa Indonesia, Soekarno, Hatta.
After Indonesia's declaration of independence on 1945, August 17, the Revolutionary War that followed was a fierce struggle between Indonesian nationalists and Dutch colonial forces. Over 4 years, Indonesia fought for recognition while navigating international diplomacy and internal challenges. The Battle of Surabaya became a symbol of Indonesian resistance. On October 27, 1945, British forces landed in Surabaya to disarm Japanese troops and restore Dutch authority. Tensions escalated when Brigadier Malaby, a British officer, was killed during the negotiations. On November 10, 1945, the British launched a full-scale assault. Despite their superior weapons including tanks and planes, the people of Surabaya, armed with bamboo spears, outdated rifles, and unyielding courage, fought relentlessly. Thousands of Indonesians perished, but their sacrifice turned November 10 into Heroes' Day, commemorated annually. In 1946, the Linggadjati Agreement was marked the first formal negotiation between Indonesia and the Netherlands. Indonesia was recognized as having de facto authority over Sumatra, Java, and Madura. However, the agreement soon faltered as both sides interpreted its terms differently. This led to further tensions and military clashes. Dutch military operations in 1947 and 1948, known as police actions, aimed to reassert colonial control, leading to widespread destruction and international condemnation. Figures like Sultan Syahrir, Amir Syafuruddin, and Muhammad Hatta represented Indonesia on the diplomatic front, while United Nations and countries such as India, Australia, and the United States began pressuring the Dutch to resolve the conflict peacefully. The Renville Agreement, mediated by the UN in 1948, attempted to bring about peace but only reinforced Dutch military control over key territories. It highlighted the need for this definitive resolution. After the agreement and the truce that was made in the Renville Conference of January 1948, it was short-lived. In December 1948, the Dutch launched a second offensive targeting the Republican capital of Yogyakarta. Key leaders including Sukarno and Hatta were captured, and the Republic seemed to be on the brink of collapse. But the spirit of resistance remained unbroken. Led by General Sudirman, the guerrilla forces waged relentless attacks on the Dutch positions. Sudirman, despite suffering from tuberculosis, led his troops from deep within the jungles, embodying the resilience of the Indonesian people.
So now I'm with Agafa. He's a fellow friend who loves history just like me. So I want to ask you, what is your opinion on the Renville agreements and the injustices and unfair equalities that you've seen displayed by the Netherlands based on that treaty and agreement?
So, in my opinion, the Renville Agreement is a very unfair agreement and a very unjust one. As for the past 300 years, Indonesia has suffered under the cruel oppression of the Dutch throughout the history of the Dutch Republic, specifically in the period of the VOC, in which they exploited and showed no care for the local Indonesians and its inhabitants. And now, after those oppressions, they still wanted to remain in control of many parts of Indonesia to continue to exploit the economics of the local people, which they already seen as immediately after the end of the World War II, as throughout the entire world there was a kind of idea of what is called self-determination, right? Where every country and every peoples can be allowed to be able to choose on their own destiny. However, the Dutch did not want to recognize that and wanted to maintain Indonesia as their crown colony, as it was incredibly profitable. And through separating Indonesia into multiple parts, both with themselves and with the Republic, and creating new entities, it would only create more chaos, as the many peoples would not be able to go along with each other. That is all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Agafa. See you next time.
Op het Binnenhof in Den Haag begint de rondetafelconferentie. Minister-president Drees opent de plechtige bijeenkomst met een rede waarin hij onder andere zegt:
wanneer de conferentie leidt tot bevredigende overeenstemming, gevolgd door praktische verwerkelijking van de gestelde doeleinden, dan wordt de deur geopend naar een onafhankelijk en soeverein.
The Hague Roundtable Conference of 1949. The turning point came in 1949 with this conference, led by Prime Minister Muhammad Hatta and representatives of the Dutch government. The conference resulted in the Netherlands formally transferring sovereignty to the Republic of the United States of Indonesia on December 27, 1949. This agreement also included contentious acknowledgements of the Dutch-controlled region of West Papua to be resolved later. Prominent figures in this struggle included Sukarno, Indonesia's first president and a symbol of resistance, Muhammad Hatta, the nation's first vice president and chief negotiator, and Sultan Syahrir, an early prime minister and diplomatic voice.
Memberkati pekerjaan kita pada konferensi meja bundar ini. Sekianlah dan terima kasih.
Vervolgens is het woord aan de voorzitter van de PFO, Sultan Hamid II van Pontianak.
Pada kami adalah kemauan yang luhur untuk menjaga kepelihara agar dalam negara muda yang berdaulat harus ada hukum dan ketertiban dan harus menjadi tempat bagi setiap orang tak memandang bangsa atau agamanya.
De sultan zegt onder andere: wij willen vereend met inspanning van al onze krachten een goed georganiseerde rechtsstaat opbouwen die een waardig lid zal zijn van de volkerengemeenschap. Wij willen en wij zullen dit zelf doen en wij zullen hierin slagen.
Kami mau dan kami akan melakukannya sendiri dan kami akan mencapainya.
Er spreekt nog de heer Critchley, die namens de Commissie der Verenigde Naties voor Indonesië gelukwensen aanbiedt ter gelegenheid van de opening der conferentie.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the members of the United Nations Commission for Indonesia, I should like to add our felicitations on this historic occasion.
Hier de gelegenheid met elkaar in wat minder officiële sfeer van de dag te wisselen. In Den Haag komt de ronde tafelconferentie voor de tweede en laatste keer in de Ridderzaal bijeen. Nog eenmaal scharen de drie delegaties in. Omdat nog de delegatievoorzitters het woord gevoerd hebben, is het ogenblik van de ondertekening der akkoorden aangekomen. Een historisch ogenblik, van beslissende betekenis in de geschiedenis van Indonesië en Nederland. Een bevestiging die de nieuwe rechtsorde bekrachtigt, wordt deze akte eerst door Hare Majesteit de Koningin en daarna door de verantwoordelijke Nederlandse ministers ondertekend. Nadat nog de akte van soevereiniteit.
Het is mij als leider en delegatie van de Republiek de Verenigde Staten van Indonesië een grote eer en waar genoegen hierbij namens de Republiek de Verenigde Staten van Indonesië de soevereiniteit over Indonesië te aanvaarden op de voet van zo even door de secretaris van de Nederlandse ministerraad voorgelezen akte van soevereiniteitsoverdracht. Ik koester de hoop dat de betrekkingen tussen onze beide landen, welke hierdoor in unieverband op een basis van volkomen vrijheid, gelijkheid en vrijwilligheid zijn komen te staan, zich in een zin zullen ontwikkelen, welke tot welvaart en geluk van onze beide volken leidt.
Na deze verklaring plaatst Dr. Anders Hatta zijn handtekening onder de akte van overdracht.